Next up, podcast listeners, we have the dumbest bill in America. And do we have a lead up, Mr. Producer? Here it is. And it's the dumbest bill in America. And it is, you won't believe it, Transgender UBI in Palm Springs, California. Transgender Universal Basic Income in Palm Springs, California. I never thought I would come to this day that I would actually be able to even talk about this, that this was a possibility, but in NPR, Palm Springs looks to create a universal basic income pilot for trans residents. The Palm Springs City Council has approved funding for 2 local organizations to develop a universal basic income program for the California city's transgender and non-binary residents. The City Council unanimously approved allocating $200,000 to 2 groups, if you will. One's called DAP Health and one is called QueerWorks. And, and the money's purpose is to do a no strings attached universal basic income program, which means that you get a check for doing nothing, right? So initially, universal basic income's idea was, well, you need some money so that you can buy food and clothing and maybe help you with your rent so that you can get transition to the next job. But now it's, here's some money so that you can get transition to the next sex. I mean, I'm not really sure. Apparently that's what it is. So it's Transgender UBI. So apparently what has happened since this bill passed, it passed, okay, in Palm Springs, California. Since it passed, the mayor of Palm Springs, California, we're going to put a picture of her up, okay? The mayor's name is Lisa Middleton. Now, I was looking at Lisa Middleton for a while, the picture in the article, and I realized Lisa has a really large Adam's apple. And I'm like, that's got to be a guy, but it just looks like an older, kind of unattractive woman. Well, the mayor of Palm Springs, California is getting a lot of criticism about this UBI stuff. So the article in the Desert Sun, it's a local newspaper, says, Middleton decries animus abuse in wake of Palm Springs transgender income pilot vote. Palm Springs Mayor Lisa Middleton on Thursday said city staff have been subjected to a wave of abuse by people upset over a recent city council decision to allocate $200,000 to local organizations to design a guaranteed basic income pilot program for transgender city residents. That's a mouthful.
That's what she said.
At comments at the end of Thursday's city council meeting, Middleton, who is transgender, the mayor is transgender, expressed dismay over what she said has been inaccurate national media coverage of the vote. She said, vitriol directed at city staff is the result of hostility towards transgender community. No, people are upset with the mayor and the city council because of the fact that they're giving money away based solely on the fact that you decide that you're going to be some other sex. On March 24th, the council voted unanimously to provide $200,000 to QueerWorks and DAP Health. Leaders of those 2 organizations told the council. So, folks, we have a clip, okay? It's really funny. And the purpose of this, letting you listen to this clip, is that this is someone who's explaining this program, saying it's really not universal basic income. All it is a program to set up universal basic income. So we're not giving it away yet. We're just setting up the program that will enable it to be given away. I mean, the biggest lie ever. It tells you how the left will do anything to lie. So here's Ryan Mitchell. He's a podcaster in Palm Springs, California. Ryan Mitchell is a big supporter of Transgender UBI. We have this clip, and here it is.
The $200,000 is to allow DAP Health and QueerWorks to develop the application, to do focus groups, to research best practices, to attempt to hire individuals that would be responsible for putting together the program, and for messaging to the community. They are proposing that it would be $900 that would go to a target population of transgender and non-binary individuals. The city of Palm Springs is providing $200,000 to help in the application process. We did not commit to providing any additional funding. We did not commit to moving forward with being a UBI management organization.
So, Matt, that's a guy explaining away the fact that they're not really doing UBI. They're just setting up all the infrastructure to do UBI for transgenders. So here's my thought process. I'm going to walk you through this. So you got a Hispanic guy. He's in Palm Springs, California. He works at a gardening center. And he decides to go to the local UBI office for universal basic income in Palm Springs, California. He has 3 kids. He's married, traditional marriage. And he walks in there like, you don't get $1,000 UBI.
No.
Are you crazy? Not you.
No, you're too normal.
He says, I kind of need it because I want to get an education because I want to be a landscape architect. I don't want to be just a landscaper. I want to be a landscape architect, and that's going to help me with my degree at the local community college. No, you don't get that. So then he goes home, thinks about it, regroups, comes back the next day in a wig and says, hi, I'm here to apply for, why did you say so? Here's $1,000.
Approved. Approved.
It's right,
rubber stamped it.
Chris is back there going, approved. Wig proves that you are actually a transgender. Speaking of transgenders, one just walked by. So go ahead.
I mean, these people are crazy. I mean, there's just no other way to phrase it. They've lost their mind. And what gets me, I guess the theory of this is just cracking me up from if you're a resident out there in Palm Springs. Apparently, your political class thinks you're so homophobic, right? So I guess the theory is that the income or the employment rate between transgenders and cisgenders, which is normal people, is so the gap is so wide.
A new word for normal.
Yeah, that we need to go ahead and take from one group to give to another group in the name of equity.
So here's my thing, okay? I would explain the Hispanic guy who wants to UBI and he just puts a wig on. But
like Klinger.
Isn't there this principle that I was aware of, at least I thought I was aware of, that said that when there is assistance that is required because you don't have enough food or you need shelter or what have you, that government is supposed to be colorblind. I mean, that's like a uniquely American system. You're supposed to be like blind to need and just help people based on
in front
need.
of the courthouse.
But this is not what this is. This is the opposite. This has nothing to do with need. This is blind to need and eyes open based on the way you look, literally.
It's not even the way you look. It's the body parts that you have. I mean, this isn't for LGBT.
No, it's the way
it's just for the T, right?
It's the way you display your body part. It's it's transgender UBI. I mean, it says here transgender UBI in Palm Springs, California. So as long as you identify as so something other than
if you're just gay or lesbian, you can't qualify for this.
I don't think so. I think this is pure transgender. So, and then Lisa Middleton, folks.
So they're a higher protected class than even anybody else.
So the most protected class in America, right? I mean, it used to be the illegal gardener, right? That lives there, and now he's like, wait a minute, what about me? Like, I came here illegally. I'm first. Like, no, dude, the transgender gets in line before you.
You're privileged.
Come on,
you're privileged.
Exactly. So Lisa Middleton, folks, she's the mayor of Palm Springs, California. So I decided to look her up.
One ugly woman.
She is really ugly. She's ugly. So Lisa Middleton, I looked her up on Wikipedia because I just had a hunch. Born in 1952, is an American politician and a member of Palm Springs City Council, which is the mayor now. She was first elected in the city council in 2017 and is the first transgender person to be elected in California for a non-judicial position. She also serves on the Riverside County Transportation Commission, the Sunline Board of Directors, and blah, 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 blah. So there you go. Only in Wikipedia would you first be that, right? You're the mayor, you were on the city council, and you're a transgender yourself. So naturally, you have to have some sort of thing for the people that put you in office. I presume. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is a self-directed retirement plan. Like her term's almost up, so maybe just need to railroad this.
So we're going to do this again. We did this the other day. So UBI, we need some new UBI ideas. So universal basic income is just money you get on a monthly basis, just because. Okay, because the idea is you really need this to get you by. You just get it. No justification, no litmus test, no nothing other than with this, you have to be a transgender. So let's do the next UBI program. So UBI for what?
True. I don't know.
UBI for.
I mean, it's got to be somebody close.
Single women with cats.
I mean,
UBI for
blind Eskimos. Maybe.
UBI for.
I'm trying to think of. So I mean, this is all getting back to intersectionality from the.
It
left,
is intersectionality,
right? And
yes.
where conservatives like ourselves treat everyone equally. Right. This gets back to equity, and equity means different rules for different people.
They don't believe you treat people equally because you're a conservative. They believe that
I treat people equally.
They believe you're not treating transgenders equally, and that's why they deserve UBI because you're a conservative.
People,
How dare you?
As Thomas Sowell has said, if they had special treatment for so long, now they're receiving equal treatment. They actually feel like they've been discriminated against.
Does this piss off millennials, Chris? I just want to know. Do millennials get upset the fact that this dude over here gets UBI because he's.
It pisses me off. I don't think it pisses off a lot of them.
I think it really comes down to if you're working or not. If you're working in a taxpayer and realize that your money is going to some dude or dudette or whoever it is that's simply not working, how is that fair? I don't know a single person that doesn't support equality, meaning equal rules for everyone.
Equal rules, yes. Okay.
Equity is different rules for different people.
That's what this is.
And this is different people getting an extra benefit.
Yes.
Based on their sexuality that they choose. And this isn't even really sexuality because, as you said, there's more than one way you can. I mean,
it's the way you're dressed.
How do you verify? What's the certification process for this?
Well, it's just like in New Jersey, where you have the guys that dressed up as women, went into a women's prison, and then made several women pregnant in New Jersey. And it's like, well, then it's obviously still a dude, right? Because he loves, so it's not a transgender.
The guy in Virginia schools. We kept getting moved around to all the different schools.
Well, yes. Right. I mean, and
he was assaulting women, young girls, excuse me.
In the bathroom, and that just gets swept under the rug.
Exactly. So how is that? I'm not sure. Help me out with this. Help me understand this.
I don't think anybody understands this right now. This is about, I think the left, radical left, is just trying to undermine society at this point, because there's no way this doesn't meet like meritocracy.
Yeah, well, this is. I just think that California, anything that they can think of that's crazy that they just put into law, and it's just. It's not even just for the shock value. It's because when you look at these people,
it's not shock value. They believe this.
They believe it.
They do.
And so, the next thing they're going to have is UBI for probably immigrants, right? Illegal immigrants, illegal UBI, right? Come into this country and we're going to give you $1,000 a month because you came here illegally.
Well, listeners out there on our podcast, I go do a little homework.
By the way, that would be a good amendment, right?
Well, I think they should.
So if Jose is illegal and he puts a wig on, does he still get the $1,000?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure he does too.
Well, I think this would be a good study course. Anybody wanting a homework assignment, go out there and check and see how much is available for a student that is just Latino, born here, American citizen, versus someone that came here illegally, and you'd be shocked at the amount of grant programs, scholarships available for the people here illegally.
Yep, and coming soon near you, Transgender UBI. And that's the dumbest bill in America. And that's it for Mark and the Millennials. Thank you for joining us with Mark and the Millennials. This is Mark Fisher. Thank you to our producer, Christopher Hopkins, and our guest, Delegate Matt Morgan. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Getter, Truth Social, Rumble, and our website. See you next time.